Hey guys, and welcome back to another Toy Soldier Reviews action figure video. Today we have what I'm going to start now, how to build teams. Now, you can take my opinion with a grain of salt and do whatever you want because it's your collection. But this is what I believe my mind's eye of how to build your Marvel Legends Avengers. Let's get into it. So, this is something new of mine that I want to try to help with the channel. And in my opinion, I am no comic book reader. What you're seeing now is all the comics I've ever read in the back here. So, you don't have to listen to me at all, I'm just gonna rant here, but what I picture the Avengers is from the 2012 movie and basically the MCU and Lego Marvel superheroes. That's where I kind of got my depictions of the Avengers. Now, obviously, there's been thousands on thousands, or probably hundreds of comic books about the Avengers here. And in my opinion, building your team is all about what you want, not what other people want. But I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody has a consensus of kind of agreeing on who the Avengers are. And so, obviously, when it comes to me, the first Avenger I ever think of is Captain America here. Now, these are the only three figures that I own of this character, which is the Abomination 2015 Civil War character, the Game Reverse other Abomination Build-A-Figure Wave figure, and this Secret Wars one. And along with that, I have the Secret Empire one, which I can pop up in a couple seconds. But we'll start by discussing what other versions of this character you can buy, depicting on how you want your collection. So here is the Secret Empire Captain America. But when it comes to this figure, I think how I want him to look is the comic wise. So these two automatically kind of just shoot out. Like, nope, I don't really want these two because I can find other shelves. That's another thing to keep in mind, is that if you want, you can just be a subtle collector and build small teams, or if you want to build giant layouts. So like a Game Reverse shelf, this one's going to fit perfectly on because what? He's from a video game. This one is more of a darker looking Captain America, so I might as well put him on my like Midnight Suns shelf. Now, I've never read a single Midnight Suns or sort of like that darker street area of Marvel Comics ever, other than if you count Lethal Protector as one. So just how I picture, I would like this one to look like that on that shelf. And then this Secret Empire Captain America is Secret Empire, so he could obviously go on Hydra or villains. So what that leaves me with is this Secret Wars Captain America. Now obviously, he kind of looks of exactly how I like Captain America to look, how I picture him to look in my head when I think of him. He's got, of course, the main costume with the blues, the reds, and the white. And I like the more older look here with the big styled cuffed boots, the gauntlets, or I guess the wrist stuff. So yeah, this one is perfect. I love the chainmail too. Another substitute for this is you can do the, over here on the left, I'll put a picture of the 20th anniversary one, or I guess it might have been the 80th, but that one is practically the same figure, just a different color, coming with different accessories, like the straps on his shoulders, which would also be a very good representation for this Captain America. Now, I wish I would have gotten that one if this one didn't come out. This is the Secret Wars one. On the right here, I think that's the 80th one, where it's more of that darker sort of Alex Ross-esque kind of colors, where it is more of a darker version, like darker paint-wise. Now, in the middle here, I'll put the newest version, which is the, the Marvel vs. Capcom one, which there you'll have butterfly joints, but the thing that's kind of turning me off for the figure is that he doesn't have this chainmail sculpted on. Now, that's kind of going to be hard to do both the butterflies and the chainmail, but the one thing it does have, finally, is a full shield, because with the 20th, we got the ones with the holes, and the Secret Wars one, of course, as you can see, is broken. So, it's what you want to choose. You can do like based on how it looks, how it articulates, it's all up to you, or how you just, of course, what you decide in the end. So yeah, I'm gonna move the comic books, and we'll move on to the next character. The next character I have here is an original Avengers member, the Hulk. Now, I did used to own the Wolverine 2-pack 80th anniversary one. That Hulk was amazing for the time I had it. But the only thing wrong with it was, in my opinion, the front butterfly joints, which was solved this year with a very controversial Maximum Hulk. Now, Aesthetic wise, also here on the right, we also have the 2-pack with Banner Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest Gray Hulk. Now when I think Hulk, I don't think him gray. I think of him the green and the purple pants, which is a very good solid representation here. I like the Maximum Hulk. Yes, it is still a bit of reuse because as you can see, they look very, very similar here. And I know people aren't a big fan of the head sculpts. Now, one thing I didn't mention in Captain America segment is other lines. So you got Select Hulk, which I know people love that one as well. We've got the revealed Mezco Hulk. And I don't know if SH Figure Arts and the Mayfix, but the import figures, what they have. Now, obviously, when it comes to me, if I'm looking at these two Hulks, which I have, I'm going with the Maximum Hulk. But what I could do with this gray Hulk here is what I have him now is on my other Fantastic Four team. Like, oh, I forgot what it was called. But it was him, Ghost Rider, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. Now, that's perfect for me. Or he can go on a different shelf if you want, like with the first appearance sections. That would also be very neat. But for me, I'm going with the Maximum Hulk here. Come up, I want you, please. I don't care if it's paragraphs. I want you guys to write what your opinions are for each of these characters I'm going to go through, which in your mind's eye of the Avengers are. But we'll move on to the next character. Next up, we have my favorite Avengers character, Iron Man. Now, obviously, with this guy, there's a lot of ways you could go. Now, for me personally, it is this Secret Wars version because I just like the colors personally, and it was new and a little bit cheap, especially if you look at the older ones. But there's many different ways you can do with it. One thing I forgot to mention in the Captain America segment is that there's also different universes here. Obviously with the Ultimate Iron Man, which I forgot to mention the Ultimate Captain America. But before I had the Ultimate Captain America or Ultimate Iron Man, it was this modular one. And this modular one was pretty darn good too. But this isn't my look for Iron Man when I think of him. I think of obviously this suit here. And what you can do for this one is there's, of course, the same 20th anniversary, along with the Hulk that I forgot to mention. There's the Hulk in Captain America, Iron Man, and, of course, Toad, the original 4 characters that I believe Toy Biz did. But with that, you have also the AI one from the Mr. Hyde wave. And there's also the 80th one, too, which also was very neat, with the actual gold painted yellow. And also came with an older version of the head. I'm not exactly sure who drew it or when it was from. I believe it was like late 60s, but his head's more of like a oval kind of. But then again, when it comes to Iron Man, you can choose whatever. Like there's the Extremist one or the Invincible Iron Man. So those are also different looks we could do. You could also get the ones from the retro wave. I'm forgetting the model number. I'll pop a picture of it on the screen. But yeah, obviously with Iron Man, you can choose however you want. There's also the MCU ones, which also do look good for your Iron Man looks. So move on to the next character. Next character I have is Thor. Now, this is the only version of the character I own. There is also the 80th anniversary one, which is kind of, I believe, the other only Thor we have other than some older versions. And I believe there's an Ultimate Thor, I believe. And then there's your MCU Thors. Now, me personally, this is the Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest 2-pack one with the Destroyer. I would hold on Thor. As of recording this video, there's been rumors of a Maximum Thor. There's also the Ragnarok one I forgot to mention, the Deluxe, which also is just a pretty good substitute. I mean, as long as you don't pay attention to the red eyes, he would be able to be a suitable Thor for you. But this one alone does look very good. I like the bearded version. I believe this is the only one that has the beard. So if there is a Maximum Thor and we don't get the bearded, you'd have to get this. It is also the only way to get the Destroyer in the Hasbro form other than, I believe, Toy Biz or those older figures. But yeah, or I think it was Marvel Select. But me personally, I would hold on Thor. Also, the cool thing is the transcribed there. There's also the Winter Thor, where he was the Herald of Galactus. That one also works, or Fortnite Thor. But yeah. Next up here is Hawkeye. This is the Sky Cycle Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest one. And looking at a comic Hawkeye, they can't really get much better than this. This one visually is appeasing. You got the fabric there too, and you get a nice Sky Cycle. For other versions of this character, there is the retro carded Avengers one, and there's an older one where he's got the actual like arm cover there, or like basically his Dark Avengers look, which we might be getting with like a Bullseye-esque sort of touch because that is who was Hawkeye during the Dark Avengers run. So yeah, if you want this one, you can get it, or if not, you can get the more darker versions. But yeah, if you want a Sky Cycle, you have to get this one. Alrighty, next character here is Black Widow. Now, I'm going to recommend no other figure other than this Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest One. The accessories you get are insane. You get 3 different heads, a whole bunch of different hands, gauntlets, you get pistol effects and all of that. But if you do want to change it, there is the white suited Widow, and with the sniper, I believe. There's also your MCU ones, and then there's also the gray sort of shield one where she's got a jetpack. Now, that one also was pretty good in my opinion, but yeah, we'll get to the next figure. Before we move on to some other characters, if you asked me 2 years ago what I thought of the Avengers, I would say these 6 characters right here, because the only media I kind of knew about these characters was, other than watching YouTube videos of Comic Historian, was the Avengers 2012 movie, the Marvel's Superheroes Lego game, and Ultimate Alliance 3. Those are kind of where I based all my knowledge of these characters, and other YouTube stuff, like videos about, of course, like Comic Historian, like people explaining comic storylines. But still, even then, I believe that these 6 characters were my main Avengers, and this is what I was trying to create in Marvel Legends form. Obviously, starting off as a collector, I got sidetracked. Everyone does that at first. You just start buying, but now I'm officially focusing on one specific group, unless there's a new pre-order that I want to get, like, of course, the Extremis or the Invincible Iron Man 2-pack with Mandarin. One, I got that because it's gonna help with my Iron Man Hall of Armor shelf, and because it's new, and these hate exclusives. I hate them. I hate everything about them, but they'll, like, if I don't buy it then, my luck will run out, which will kind of flow into our next character, which we'll get straight into. And our next character here is Quicksilver. Now, the only other way to get him as a Marvel Legends is the newest green Avengers version of the same character, but pinless, different head sculpts, and without straight running hands. But I saw him on Walmart. He didn't go sold out immediately on pre-order. I'm like, okay, I can wait a week at least because I don't need him yet, and he doesn't seem to be selling out. Check the next 2 days, boom, he's gone, and now I can't find him. So I found the Family Matters 3-pack at a local comic, panel thing that sometimes my mall hosts, and yeah, now here he is. Now, obviously, I like this one better. I would have the blue one with my Avengers because after doing research, and that's kind of it, I haven't really read X-Men comics, but doing research, I see that the green costume is more with the Brotherhood. So if I did get that suit, he would go with my Brotherhood section of my X-Men display. Just because I feel like the blue kind of looks better with this as well. But yeah, we'll move into the next character. And obviously, with Pietro Maximoff, we have to have his sister here. I kind of forgot her name. But we have the Scarlet Witch here. This is also the Family Matters 3-pack version, which is okay. I mean, what you're looking at is what you get in that 3-pack. But for now, she does look pretty neat. But we do have a alternate version, which is a lighter colors with lighter red here and a lot brighter pink. It doesn't have the shininess to it. But I believe there's alternate hands with that one at least. But that might be a suitable one because I might buy that one for the Avengers because I want, with, of course, the green Quicksilver that I want to eventually put with my Brotherhood, I want this this darker Scarlet Witch is going to go with my X-Men shelf. I want them flanking Magneto with the Brotherhood behind him. So that's where it's going to go. But for now, this one does justice for a Scarlet Witch. But like I'm saying, there is the more brighter version. But also there's MCU if you want to do that as well. Next up here is War Machine, James Rhodes. I love him with the Avengers, and I don't really know where else to put him other than, I don't know, maybe my Hall of Armor shelf. So this is what it is. For this figure, we have the newest released 2-pack Gamerverse version with Red Guardian. No, not Red Guardian. Oh my gosh, how am I forgetting these characters' names? But we have that one, and then we have the deluxe version of this character, which it's the same mold, but it has more of a darker gray and a silver instead of the white. I wanted the white version because I believe the white version matches the Secret Wars one and just looks more comic booky, if you know what I mean, for my shelf. Because just the bright colors of the Secret Wars figures, this Maximum Hulk, and that Hawkeye over there, that all kind of mashes together perfectly. And you do get a pretty good plethora of accessories with this. You, of course, get the blaster effects. You get a couple of swappable hands. Now, this red repulsor is from the Stealth Iron Man suit, and these are from the Black Widow here. But it's nice to see the compatibility between other figures, that you can plug in stuff from other figures. So yeah, this is just a very good representation of the figure, but of course, there's your other options if you'd like. Next up is Captain Marvel in general. which I didn't have time to change the pose of this one. But as you can see, there's many different, I don't know what to say, avatars, I guess characters who have played and had the name of Captain Marvel, or Captain Marvel. This is Marvel, which for a time was my main Captain Marvel on my shelf, because he had a big thing to do with Infinity Gauntlet and all that, and I just wanted to put him there. Then of course there's Warbird here. This is the newest 85th anniversary one. Really good figure on that new highly articulated female body mold. Then there's this Photon here, or Captain Marvel as well, from the Doctor Doom and I guess Captain Marvel 2-pack. It's mainly Secret Wars, but it was in the Avengers Beyond Earth's Mighties. I'm gonna put her just in the back here. But when I think of Captain Marvel, I think of the blue and red suit, the big mohawk, the red helmet from, of course, the Captain Marvel movie from the MCU, and also just because I believe that's what she looked like in Ultimate Alliance 3 and also the Avengers game. But there's also this version, I think. But I remember seeing this one. There's also the Dark Avengers version, which is also what she wore. I just know when I think of Captain Marvel, I don't think of the guy. I think of Carol Danvers. That's the name that pops into my head. But either way, it's all up to you. But I recommend both of them because this one's going to go not on my Avengers shelf, but this one's on my Cosmic one, and this one's on my Avengers shelf. But like I said, there's also like Ultimates and all that, which I believe if I get the sort of MCU looking-ish one, it's going to go on my Ultimate shelf. So we'll move on to the next character. Now this is going to be a little bit of a longer character esque rundown, but it is the Vision. This is the White Vision because I was going to start my West Coast Avengers, but then I realized I probably should continue like my main mind's eye of the characters. But for Vision here, this is the White Vision. Obviously with him, I want the entire West Coast Avengers. So you can I'll just pop up the 5-packs, very good. And then I believe there's Wonder Man in the, I think he was in the Puff Adder Build-A-Figure wave, I believe is right. But then there's the whole West Coast Avengers, which is also going to be on my main Avengers shelf. But for Vision himself, I think of course the red and yellow, who doesn't, or I guess the red, yellow, and green. There is the very good looking Void Build-A-Figure wave 1. But before that was the retro carded one. He was on, I believe, the Pizza Spidey mold, and he came with that Ultron head, which was very good. He was on the Avengers retro card, and I think that's it for Vision. Also, there's the Marvel Selects version. There might be imports, but when it comes to my collection, I stick strictly to Hasbro. I don't know why, it's just, I like their kind of aesthetic more than, I don't need a highly articulated figure. I would like them to be posable, like this Maximum Hulk. Like what I did with my channel mainly now is the playability time, or I guess the playtime segment, because when it comes to figures, I want them to look good, I want them to move good. If I get a figure that's bad articulation, it kind of immediately turns me off and it's like, this figure, instead of I'm going to play with him, like when I bring out my Avengers, it's kind of going to just sit there because he can't really do a whole lot. Like with this Maximum Hulk, I started moving him around, the new chest, everything, I just liked it a lot better. And then, yeah, just from there, it makes me like these characters a lot more. So we'll move on to the next character. Now, here are 3 characters I sometimes associate with the Avengers, with Spider-Woman, Wolverine, and Spider-Man. Now, these guys will fluctuate on my shelf depending where they're at. This Spider-Woman will stay because, to be honest, I have nowhere else to put her other than the Spider-Verse shelf, or I guess a Skrull shelf, because she does have, this is the Skrull Queen one from the Skrull King, or I guess the Super Skrull and Skrull Queen Avengers Beyond Earth's Mighties 2-pack. So right here we have some 2 new Avengers characters. So if you want to build out the new Avengers, these 2 figures would be perfect. Now when it comes to Wolverine and Spider-Man, I'm going to go about them at the same thing. You can choose whatever version, whatever suit, because there are so many of them. Or if you're strictly sticking to comics, you can find those appearances. When it comes to seeing Spider-Man with the Avengers, I think more young. So that immediately shoots to the Amazing Fantasy or the Spidey or the Pizza Spidey one. The Renew Your Vows will not be on my Avengers shelf because when I think of this one, I think of an adult Spider-Man. Like I think of him past high school. When I think of him with the Avengers, I think high school Spider. Because I want him to be smaller because I don't want my Spider-Man, which if you put these 2 next to each other, they're kind of the same size. I don't want my Peter Parker to be the same size as the Super Soldier Captain America. That's just my opinion. I do not own the Maximum Spider-Man. I believe that one is also bigger than Captain America, like slightly. But yeah, when it comes to these characters, you could choose whatever version, wherever you want to put them. But these are just some characters that will slightly touch the shelves. Second to last here is Hercules. This figure, I just reviewed before this. This is what I wanted to mainly start it all, is because I wanted to start showing you guys my Avengers lineup for my shelf. And yeah, this Hercules is perfect. I believe there is the Thor Ragnarok Hulk Build-A-Figure one, which has a slightly different look than this comic one. But when I started doing my research, mainly, that's what I do with all these characters, I saw that Hercules, when he was with the Avengers, looked more like this. Sorry about the bells this entire video. Those are my new cats. But this one just does perfectly. The mace here, everything about the look just look nice. So we'll stop with Hercules now and move on to my honorable mentions, aka figures I do not own but that I wish to put on my Marvel Legends shelf. A character I also forgot to mention was She-Hulk. I still have her on the Iron Man retro card because I have not opened her, because my mind's eye is the white and purple suit, obviously, because I kind of grew up with that version. But I believe that there was rumors of the Hulk wave of a figure of her. I don't know what the difference would be between that one and this one, or between that one and what we have now. So that's why she's still not unopened. Now for this honorable mention segment, the only way I can show you these characters is by pictures. To start off, obviously, is Black Panther. For him, I would go with the Atuma Wave version or the Void Wave. He's got the more gold look. I believe that one's more modern take with the big cape. I like the Atuma one. That's the one I have on my list. But I would hope with this new War Journal Punisher body, like this entire Avengers segment is kind of, or my selection of these characters are also kind of heavily influenced on X-Man 87's his sort of collection there, which I'll definitely link in below, and this is mainly most of the inspiration from him and displaying model behavior. But Black Panther is, I think, a must for my Avengers shelf, because that Atuma Wave one just looks, when I look at all these older comic book versions of Black Panther, and even the modern ones, like reading the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars, he kind of looks like that, and so that one's perfect. And I believe the cape is removable too, which is good. I already mentioned Vision. What I'm using is Legends Verse, which I heard from, of course, Displaying Model Behavior. Not sponsored at all, not even close. But if you're serious about collecting, it's extremely worth it, because you can track everything. You put stuff on your wish list, track your collection, all that good stuff. That's what I use to see all these figures that I would like to put eventually on my shelves. Next off, we have the Black Knight and Cersei. Kind of every Beyond Earth's Mightiest 2-pack I would put on your list for Avengers, because it's pretty solid, or practically the entire line too, or that entire, like, I guess wave-ish thing. I'd put all of them on your list there. But the Black Knight and Cersei is also good, because Black Knight, I would also recommend the Cole Obsidian one. That one's definitely going on my Midnight Sun shelf, because I like that older look, sort of with the darker characters. Also, Doctor Strange. For him, we have the Walmart exclusive or Walgreens exclusive one with all the accessories. That one's amazing. That one's on my list. There's also the VHS Spider-Man one, which is okay with Morbius. Then there's the one with Wong, which is also really good, but that one looks more like a Sinister Strange, which there also, I believe, are character versions of that. You can also have the MCU ones, but the one with Wong is also, I think, a pretty solid representation if you want him to. But I might do that one with the Dormammu head on my villain, or my, what do you call it? The Midnight Suns shelf. Along with that Midnight Suns characters is Luke Cage Power Man. Now this is the Midnight Sun, or the Marvel Knights shelf. That's the more comic classic one. I would put him, for the time being, with that Iron Fist from the Luke Cage and Iron Fist 2-pack. Now when I think of Luke Cage and Iron Fist, I think of that Iron Fist. I actually think of the 2-pack. The Luke Cage Power Man, I only slightly remember him from Marvel Lego Superheroes. But looking at that other Luke Cage from the 2-pack, I would like him to be on the Midnight Suns, or I guess Marvel Knights shelf. That's definitely it. And then for other characters, there's Moon Knight, of course, with the West Coast Avengers, Jocasta, Thunderstrike, and of course the Falcon. Now for him, I was going to buy him. He was going to be my next figure before Hercules. There is the Joe Fixit wave, and there's the retro card. But mentions of the Secret Wars being on the retro card, I was like, I might wait a tiny bit to see what this one is. Maybe this one's new, pinless, anything, more accessories, maybe a final Red Wing in the line. But yeah, now we move on to my final segment for this Avengers shelf. And this is what I was saving. I know many of you were probably going to comment already. I'm pretty sure there's some already at the beginning of this video. Where's Giant Man? Where's Hank Pym? Where's Ant-Man? So for the, obviously I recommend the HasLab. But when I think of Ant-Man, I think of like Scott Lang with that helmet. I don't really, this Giant Man or the Giant Man, this version, like the actual suit here with the antennas, not the giant metal helmet, has grown on me by doing my research and all that. But there's obviously this one, there's the 2-pack with the smaller version and the Wasp. That is the only way to get those two characters in the sort of 6-inch line, which is obviously really high price because it's $200 now in the aftermarket, because I believe it was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive to go with this version. Now, what I recommend is the Astonishing Ant-Man, I believe. I'll pop a picture there of the one I'm thinking about, but there's also the retro card version of that Scott Lang Ant-Man, or I guess maybe it's Hank Pym. But to go with that version of the Ant-Man, I recommend the Yellow Wasp or the Blue Wasp, which is also another good version of those characters. For Wasp, you've got 3 different looks. For Ant-Man, I believe you got 2. And then obviously there's Bill Foster's Giant Man, which we haven't really got any different versions of, other than I believe there's like that old 3-pack. But I hope we get like the, I'll pop a picture of the version of him I want. But that version of Bill Foster, I would love it in the line. So yeah, now we'll move on to the final thoughts. So tell me your thoughts. What are your guys' opinions on how I have my Avengers? I don't even know if you guys are making it to the end, because you probably clicked off already, because what is this guy talking about? He hasn't even read a single comic about the old Avengers? Why should I listen to him? Now, if you made it to the end, you could see that I think my lineup's pretty decent. I would pretty much assume that other people would have the same. But I recommend starting, obviously, with the 2012 Avengers, or from the movie. You need, I believe, you absolutely have to have Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hawkeye, and Black Widow. If not, you could kick Hawkeye and Black Widow out, or Thor, or whatever. But I believe at least the main 3 over there. And you can build your Avengers off that, which is what I'm doing. So please, please, please comment below your thoughts. I want to know how you guys have it. I want to know exactly what you want your shelves to look like. This is just a sort of to help and kind of just explain my thoughts. I like to engage with the community and let them know what I personally think. So that's all I have for you guys today. Comment below and like if you liked this new format. This is something obviously I'm trying new, never seen before on the channel. Other than reviews, it's just me talking about teams. Comment below teams you'd like to see next, like X-Men, your Masters of Evil, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. Please like, subscribe, share. Doing that helps my channel out a ton. Lets me know that you guys also enjoyed this version of content now. Also follow me on other platforms such as TikTok and Instagram. Doing that's going to help me out a ton on other platforms grow and hopefully bring people over to the main YouTube. That's all for you today. Choice Soldier Reviews, out.